Hello, this is Brian Reich from Reich Consulting. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to defragment your hard drives on Windows 7. If you're familiar with how to defrag on Windows Vista, it's the exact same approach. If you're coming from Windows XP, it's just a little bit different, but it's actually much nicer. To get started, go ahead and click your Start button and click Computer. And under Computer, you're going to see all the drives that are connected to your computer or installed within your computer. Locate your first hard disk, which is generally C, and right-click it and select Properties. Now, under Properties, you've got a couple of tabs here: General, Tools, Hardware, Sharing, Quota, Previous Versions, and Security. You've also got some pretty interesting information under the General tab here. Used space, free space, you got a nice little pie chart here, the disk cleanup utility, and at the very bottom we've got the compress this drive to save disk space option. I would recommend never ever selecting that option. These days hard drive space is so cheap, it's very affordable to just upgrade your hard disk if you're starting to run low on space, or buy an external hard drive or thumb drive to store your files on. Compressing your drive makes your computer very slow. That's because every file that you need to access is going to be compressed, and that includes all your Windows files as well. So as Windows is booting, it's going to need to decompress all the files that it needs to run. And then of course all of your Word files, for example, MP3s, all of that stuff will be required to be decompressed before you can use it. This other option down here, allow files on this drive to have contents indexed in addition to file properties. That's going to make the Windows search service work. You want to generally leave that selected unless your computer's starting to run significantly slow. Anyway, back to defragmenting. Go ahead and click your Tools option. And the second option down, defragmentation, this option will defragment files on the drive. That's pretty much a no-brainer. So click Defragment Now. Now the Disk Defragmenter window, again, if you're coming from Windows XP, this is very different. If you're coming from Vista, it's almost identical. The thing that's different from Windows XP, of course, is this schedule option. This means you can set it and forget it, basically. Go ahead and click Configure Schedule. And under the Disk Defragmenter Modify Schedule window that appears, we've got a couple of options. The checkbox at the top, Run on a Schedule, recommended, of course. You can deselect that to turn off Disk Defragmenter scheduling if you want to, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Personally, I keep my computer on almost constantly, so I want to keep it on a schedule so I know that my drives are going to get defragmented on a regular basis. Weekly is fine for me, but of course you can select daily, weekly, or monthly. I like to choose Saturday, and 1 a.m. is pretty good for me because I'm usually either out doing something or I'm in bed. So my computer's not being used at that time. You can select disks. By default, all disks are selected, but you can specify 1 disk or 2 disks or all disks. So you might as well leave Select All Disks selected. That way, all of your drives on your computer are going to get defragmented at the same schedule. Down here at the bottom, automatically defragment new disks. This means that if the schedule runs and you have a thumb drive or an external hard drive connected to your computer that you haven't already selected up here in this list, it's going to defragment that too. Go ahead and click OK. And back here at the Disk Defragmenter window, of course, we've got 2 options at the bottom. Analyze disk is the first. That's going to analyze the disk to tell us if we even need to bother defragmenting. And of course we can click Defragment Disk, which is going to go ahead and do a manual defragmentation. Now if I go ahead and click that, it's actually going through a very similar process as it did on Windows XP. However, the Disk Defragmenter on Windows 7 and Windows Vista 2 actually doesn't give us the same sort of graphical overview that the Windows XP tool did. It just goes ahead and does its thing. and you can actually close this window and let it run in the background. And that is how you defragment your drives on Windows 7. I hope you'll stick around and check out a few of my other tutorial videos. Thanks for stopping by.